is a regular meeting of the Lawrence City Council. Please note that this is a virtual meeting that is only accessible remotely. And in order to join the meeting, you can do it from your computer, your tablet, or smartphone, using the access code that has been previously provided in our agenda. Pursuant to Governor's Barricades, March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 38, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this public meeting of the Lawrence City Council for the City of Lawrence, Massachusetts, is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted, but the public can listen and or view this meeting while in progress by the use of Facebook, YouTube, web access provided via Zoom or phone calls that has been previously referenced in the agenda. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearings designated for public comments by the use of web and phone access provided. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please. Mr. Clerk? Mr. Clerk, roll call, please. Councilors, the clerk was having some technical difficulties and he had to log out, but he will be joining us in about 1 minute. I apologize for the inconvenience.
I've heard the rates more correction.
Puppy.
Council President.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. We are ready
sorry for the
roll
delay.
call.
Not get in. Roll call. Councilor Estel Reyes. Councilor Estel Reyes. Noted. Councilor Anna Levy.
Present.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Puppy.
Councilor Selena Reyes. Noted. Councilor Abdu.
Present.
Councilor Payano.
Present.
Councilor Dela Cruz.
Present.
Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
Present.
Council Vice President LaPlante.
Present.
And Council President Vasquez.
Present.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
You're welcome.
Now, please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. Now, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
to the flag of the
United
United
States of America,
States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under
nation
God,
under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Councilors, please note that Councilor Estela Reyes asked to be excused. She had a medical appointment in the city of Boston, and Councilor Selena Reyes also will be joining us about 30 minutes late. She was flying back from California where she was in a work training. She will join us as soon as she can. Okay, moving on with the agenda. We have public participation. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to be heard?
Homayun Mali, 53 Chester Street. Good evening, honorable members. In this great pandemic of the century, we demand of you and Mayor Rivera sign police officers' contract. Our police department, with the leadership of Honorable Chief Roy Vask, has done an excellent job to protect our citizens. Our citizens united with one voice demand of you support our police officers union and senior officers union. Our city is a better city. We must support our DPW, hard-working DPW and their union. Lawrence Teachers Union must know 83,000 citizens are behind them and we are support them. Lawrence Public School, with the impeccable leadership of Honorable Superintendent Cynthia Paris, moving forward. Children in remote learning in this great pandemic is still learning. In this important season of joy and thanksgiving, we praying for well-being of our citizens and our city. Our city move forward with the best example of respect and appreciation for police officers union, DPW, firefighters union, and teachers union. Lawrence always good behind unite. Lawrence always strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malley. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to be heard? Seeing there's none, public participation is now closed. Moving on, we have communications from the mayor, city officials, and the city attorney. There's none. Appropriations, orders, and resolutions. Resolutions, there's none. And appropriations, we have document 23720, which is an appropriation transfer from free cash to special infrastructure account for South Common Project on the amount of $415,000, presented by Mayor Dan Rivera, is going down to the Budget and Finance Committee. We have document 23820, it's an appropriation transfer from free cash to special account to police camera project on the amount of $150,000, presented by Mayor Dan Rivera, is also going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Committee reports, we have none. We do have old business. How about if we start with the appointments on the personnel committee, because I think that will move much faster. We have document 214. Councilors, is there a motion to discharge documents 21420, 21520, and 22120 from the personnel committee?
Second.
Who made the motion?
Myself.
Maria.
Motion was made by Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez, and it was seconded by Councilor Maria de la Cruz. Is there any discussion? Seeing there's none, Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilor Estel Reyes, noted. Councilor Anna Levy
Yes.
on the dispatch. Councilor Anna Levy,
Yes.
is that your vote?
She voted yes.
Yes, I'm just trying to clear. Thank you. Councilor Selena Reyes, noted. Councilor Abdu,
Yes.
Councilor Payano,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez,
Yes.
Council Vice President LaPlante,
Yes.
and Council President Vasquez.
My vote is yes. The motion carries. Document 21420, 21520, and 22120 have been discharged from the Personnel Committee and now stand before the full council. Last night we had Councilor Maria de la Cruz serve as the chair for the Personnel Committee in the absence of Chairman Dave Abdu. Madam Vice Chair of Personnel,
Thank you.
document 21420.
Thank you, Council President. Item 21420, appointment of Marta Velez as Health and Human Services Director. It was sent with full it was sent with favorable recommendation to the full council. And I make it to approve.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second, Councilor?
Second.
It's been seconded by Personnel Chair Dave Abdu. Any discussion? Mr. Chair Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to begin by thanking Councilor Dela Cruz for her leadership last night. Regrettably, I could not be there. She gracefully agreed to do so, and my understanding is she executed the meeting in a perfect manner. So thank you to our colleague, Councilor Dela Cruz. With respect to the appointment of Ms. Velez, I look forward to, in a few moments, enthusiastically supporting this candidacy. Just speaking in a short window, in the last 2.5 years, essentially dating back to the beginning of the gas crisis on September 13th, 2018, Martha Velez in this position has proven not only her ability to lead, but she has been in the lead, and she has gracefully gotten us through, our seniors, our community, and our veterans through those trying times in the fall of 2018. And then 2019, I believe, she took on the added responsibility of veterans with Jamie Melendez, and has done just a great job with the senior center of the community, the veterans, and now with this pandemic. I know we all share good thoughts about Ms. Velez. I think her job interview now has lasted a couple of years, and she's aced it. And with that, I would look forward to enthusiastically supporting this candidacy tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilor Rodriguez. You're muted.
To you, Mr. President, I don't know if you're going to open the floor for each of the candidates for them to speak as of why we all know them, but I mean the public up there.
Yeah. So at any moment, if a councilor has any questions to the candidates, feel free to ask. It's not a problem. I think that it's important that we ask any questions.
I personally going to support the nomination of Marta Velez. I have worked with her on many different situations. She is now in charge of many different departments in the city, which we agree on at one point, and or will be in charge of many different departments in the city, which have worked with on many different occasions for the benefit of the community. But Marta, I know you. A lot of people know you in the city, but please introduce yourself at this level, and say why you, as a Laurentian, would like to be able to skills and keep on serving the community at that level.
Director Velez.
First of all, I am a true Laurentian. I'm a proud Laurentian. I've lived in the city since I was 5 years old. I've been working for the city. As of November 26th, I'll start my 31st year. I started as the secretary to the director of the Council on Aging. In 1995, I became the program administrator. In 2010, I became the director of the senior center, the center that is known now. And last year, I had the honor of the mayor wanting to appoint me as the Health and Human Service Director for the city. I have a great passion to serve people. I love people. I feel that we all can give back to our community, and I am fortunate and blessed to be able to be paid to do this job. I also feel that everything that we do is to help the community and the residents of this city, and who better than those of us that are public servants? I feel that I work for this community alongside the mayor to make Lawrence better and to make sure that we move forward as a unit. And it has been my intention and always will be my intention to bring all the departments that I will be supervising, if I am approved by you today, forward into the next year, I hope to be along in this city for the next 10 years and continue to really serve the community. And at the same time, I always feel that while I have this opportunity, I always grow. And one of the things that I've grown because of another crisis, we learned from the gas crisis, but this pandemic, I've worked closer and closer with Mike Armano, who is also here today. But it really indicates what I think the mayor's vision was, and it's really about the Board of Health setting codes, inspectional service enforcing these codes. And I feel that my job is to really touch the community, as I always have, and educate the community on many different levels, because inspectional services, I think, plays a big role in our public health. And I think that while we educate community and we move community forward, I think it gives us a great opportunity to grow as a city. So I thank you all for giving me this opportunity.
Martha, I definitely appreciate all the service that you have done for the city. You do with your heart, and that means a lot. I personally would like to thank you for everything that you have done. When I called you, you were there. When I text you, you respond, and that means a lot for a counselor, for a person that is just trying to serve some people in the community. Well, thank you. I truly appreciate everything that you have done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Rodriguez. Councilors, is there anyone else?
Yes, Council President.
Councilor de la Cruz.
Yes, like I said last night, Martha, the city is blessed by having you. And, you are a person that works 24/7. I don't know how your family feel about that, because you're always on the road. You're always knocking doors. You're always serving the people. And that's what we need, especially when people are struggling, when people are in need. You don't ask, you just provide what they need at the moment. Then the city is really grateful to have you, and you are a woman of power. Thank you for serving this community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor de la Cruz. Is there anyone else? Seeing there's none. Councilor Levy, did you raise your hand? Councilor
Yes.
Levy?
I'm sorry, I have a little cough right now, but I want to thank you, Malta. I know Malta for many, many years, and we have been working so many projects in the city of Lawrence, and I always see one thing that I like from her is that she's always smiling.
Yeah, you have to keep smiling in order to keep doing this job.
That she's always smiling, and it's a pleasure to work with you, Malta. So I'm so glad that that you will be able to get this position and to keep working with you for so many years. Thank you for all the works that you've been doing to the city, and not just only because I know that you also do it from your heart. That sometimes it's very hard to do it, and when we're dealing with people or all kind of people, it's very hard to keep the smiling, and also the pleasure that's in the way that you treat everybody in the same way. Thank you.
Thank you. And it has been a long time from the beginning, right?
Yes. many many years right now.
Thank you, Councilor Levy. Councilors, is there anyone else? Seeing there's none. Mr. Clerk, roll call on the motion, please.
Council Vice President LaPlante,
Yes.
Council Giovanni Rodriguez,
Yes.
Council Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Council Payano,
Yes.
Council Abdu,
Yes.
Council Selena Reyes. Noted. Council Anna Levy,
Yes.
and Council Estela Reyes. Noted, and Council President Vasquez.
Yes, the motion carries. Congratulations, Director Velez. We are very proud of you for the great work that you're doing for the city.
Thank you very much. I will make this city proud, and I will work closely with each and every one of you to make sure that the residents get what they deserve from us, and that's our service. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on with the agenda.
Yes.
We now have document 11520, Madam Vice Chair of the Personnel Committee.
Document 21520, reappointment of the third Assistant City Attorney, Gina Lagrica, City Attorney with Raquel Wano. There is a motion to approve her reappointment.
Second.
A motion has been made by Councilor De La Cruz. It has been seconded by Councilor Payano. Councilors, have there any discussion? Seeing there's none.
Council President, I would like to thank
Councilor
Gina.
De La Cruz.
I would like to thank Ms. Gina Lagrica for working in our city, for enjoying the amount of work that they has been doing together with Ms. Ruano. She has worked more than what we expected, because we were not expecting the pandemic when she took over the position. And it has been grateful to have her with the disposition that she has to get information that we needed for our city in 24 hours. She was able to bring information and to provide what we need. Then more than anything, I would like to say thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Councilor De La Cruz. I really appreciate it.
Councilors, is there anyone else who wishes to be heard? Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes, Gina, thank you. Thank you so much for everything you have done. If your reappointment came from Ruano, I believe that everything is working fine. But I just wanna go ahead and ask Attorney Ruano as of how the department is coming up since her appointment on the department. So, Ms. Ruano, how things are going? I know that you have a third appointment, the reappointment today.
Yep.
Your department, and I know that you have a first attorney as well. How's everything?
Attorney
Yeah.
Ruano?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, I know I said this yesterday at the Personnel Committee, but I wholeheartedly am recommending Attorney LaGreca. I think that the three candidates that you have today from the Personnel Committee, Martha Velez, Attorney Gina LaGreca, and Mike Armano, I think that one of the things that all three of them have in common is that they have really risen to their position because of what happened this year in the pandemic. I think everybody in the city has had to deal with so many new issues. And I think just internally in the city attorney's office, Gina LaGreca has been very instrumental in, reviewing all the new laws that have come out, not only from the Massachusetts state legislature, but also the federal government regarding the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, by the various municipal acts that have come forward regarding any kinds of leave. She's been very instrumental in getting a return to work policy and trying to ensure that everybody who comes into City Hall is doing it in a safe and a healthy manner. And these are things that really had to come up at the very last minute, and they really had to be vetted. And her level of research and her level of attention to detail is really extraordinary. And I think, especially as a lawyer, that is an intricate quality that you need to have. And it's amazing how many attorneys do not have it. But I can definitely say 100% that she possesses the qualities that I think our office really needs. And I think will help make the city of Lawrence, especially through the legal department, a much better place. So I am strongly recommending her to be reappointed in that position. And I've seen the way she interacts with, I know she's mainly been dealing with the administration and with the zoning and the planning board, but on the limited times I know she's engaged with the city council, she's just been very professional, and I have heard nothing but good things. So I would just urge that you approve this recommendation.
Thank you, Attorney Rano. Councilors, are there any further questions or comments? Seeing there's none, Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilor Estel Reyes, noted. Councilor Anna-Levy.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes, noted. Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
Yes.
Council Vice President LaPlante.
Yes.
And Council President Vasquez.
My vote is yes. The motion carries. Once again, congratulations, Attorney LaGreca.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and I really appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Moving on with the agenda, we have document 22120, Madam Vice Chair of the Personnel Committee.
Document 22120, appointment of Michael Jane Armano from the Inspection of Services as Director of that department. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion has been made and it has been properly seconded. Councilors, for any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Chair from Personnel?
Yes, Council President. I would like to
Madam
say
Vice Chair.
that Mr. Armano has been like a youngest brother in the city with so much energy. And what I like about him is that his department, he's a team player because he's having everybody happy and everybody's working more than before. And, you know, that kind of leader is what we need in the community. The age doesn't matter, but the interest that he has put in our city since he was since he used to work at the fire department is what I admire from him. Then he is the person that we should vote for because he cares about this city a lot. And he spent a lot of his time in this community doing the job that sometimes people don't get to see, but he's working very hard. Then I make a motion to approve.
Okay, thank you, Councilor De La Cruz. Mr. Chair from the Personnel, Councilor Abdi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to speak in support of Mr. Armano's candidacy. You know, I'll be honest, this was a position a couple of years back that I was a little perplexed why we had put the previous firefighter in the position. And, you know, I was hopeful that this job would get posted and would be able to find a professional either within the ranks or outside of the ranks. And yeah, I've been delightfully surprised by Mr. Armano. You know, to just touch on what Councilor De La Cruz said, you know, he is tireless. You know, I've sent him emails on the weekend regarding non-urgent matters that he responds to, and they're not meant to be time sensitive or I wouldn't have emailed. And on the time sensitive matters, and there are many in our city, there, you know, I don't know how many dwellings there are, but it's an old housing stock. We have our challenges, and Mr. Armano and his team, and I do want to say his team has been extremely responsive and has been extremely thorough. And I do believe in the last few years that we have seen positive results, benefits of that level of professionalism. I would note the department has expanded, and that is a very good thing. Public safety, people think is police and fire. I believe inspectional services is right there because it's code, and code is so important to the safety and well-being of our 85,000 citizens. And I do believe that Mr. Armano has done a fantastic job. I got to spend quite a bit of time with him in 2018, with as many of us did, with the explosion and passing of Lionel. And you know, there was, I believe, 12,000 dwellings and structures that were gone through as part of the inspection process to get those homes and businesses back online. And you know, the guy was just top shelf. And every day since then, I've been very, very pleased as a district councilor. And in closing, he is the type of public servant like Ms. Velez and Ms. LaGreca rather, but truly he has demonstrated that he deserves this job. And I look forward to, once again, enthusiastically voting for this candidate as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Clerk, please, in your record, add Attorney Councilor Selena Reyes has joined the meeting.
Thank you.
Councilors, any other questions or comments? Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes, Council President, through you, I just want to say, Mr. Armano, it's always there, and that's impressive. I definitely gonna support his candidacy because he truly believes that the city can be a better city by serving in the way he does. Something that I definitely admire about Armano is that if you bring something up to him, he will definitely look into it and not necessarily gonna just say, oh, we've been doing that, we have done that for the last 30 years, this is the way we're gonna do it. That's not his style, which I love, because the city have changed for the last 30 years and everybody knows. So, and the way we serve our community also have changed. And Mr. Hermano have done a great job on that. But during the pandemic, during the COVID-19, he has been the top guy up there. Even though he's nobody see it, but he is the guy right there, and I love that. Between Marta and Juan and Armano, I don't know who have served better the community, because I mean it's so many different roles, but I mean both at the end have done a great job. Thank you, Armano.
Thank you, Councilor Rodriguez. Is there any other councilors? Councilor Levy.
Yes, I just only want to congratulate you on your new position. So, and that is true what everybody's been saying about Mr. Armano. So I met you a couple of years ago, but since the time that I met you, I think so that's you've been doing a great job for the city. And it's true that I know that sometimes I call you on Sunday because I have a question and you immediately respond. So thank you for your leadership. For your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Levy. Councilors, any other questions or comments? Seeing there's none, Mr. Clerk, roll call on the motion to approve.
Excuse me 1 second. Council Vice President LaPlante.
Yes.
Council Rodriguez.
Yes.
Council De La Cruz.
Yes.
Council Payano.
Yes.
Council Abdu.
Yes.
Council Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Council Anna Levy.
Yes.
And Council Estela Reyes. Noted. And Council President Vasquez.
My vote is yes. Congratulations, Director Armano. We're proud of you.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled and honored, and I appreciate all your kind words, and I look forward to serving the community in the future. You guys all truly give me so much energy, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Okay, councilors, let's go back to the top. We have documents 20420, 20520, 20620, 20720, 20820, 20920. All of these documents are in relation to the Oliver School project, and and they need to be discharged from the Housing Committee in order to engage in a discussion here at the full council. Is there a motion at this point?
Motion, motion to discharge out of the Housing Committee.
Motion has been made by Councilor Rodriguez. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly second. Any discussion? Seeing there's none.
Mr. President, I just have a quick question to the chair.
Councilor Payano.
Mr. Chair, is there, since yesterday, is there any new information that wasn't brought up at the Housing Committee?
In regard to the traffic study or in regard to any information?
Just in general, any new information outside of what was discussed in our last two meetings?
I would like to pass that over to, I believe, Hernandez. Ms. Hernandez is here.
Sure.
Good evening, Rani.
Good evening, councilors.
Are you going to call the question to discharge, or we're going to engage into a conversation before?
No, so I just want Ms. Hernandez. So the question that I need to be respond to is if there has been any new information from last night that has not been presented to the council yet.
The new information, sure. Good evening, councilors. The new information that was shared directly through our superintendent, and then I share one additional document, was on enrollment data and enrollment projection that was requested by Councilor LaPlante.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any further questions or comments, councilors? And there's none. Mr. Clerk, roll call on the motion to discharge the document. So this is not to approve or reject at this point, only to discharge.
On the motion to discharge, Councilor Estel Reyes noted. Councilor Anna Levy.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor David Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
Yes.
Council Vice President LaPlante.
No.
And Council President Vasquez.
Yes, the motion carries. Documents have been discharged. Mr. Chair, from the Housing Committee, document 20420.
Yes, we have 204 and 205, which are very similar. It's the very similar situation that both of those items come from the Lawrence Redevelopment Authority. If I can take those as a package, if you want.
There's a motion on the floor to take documents 20420 and 20520 as a block. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly second. Any discussion? Seeing there's none, Mr. Clerk, roll call.
On the motion presented, Vice President LaPlante.
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Anna Levy.
Yes.
Councilor Estel Reyes. Noted. And Council President Vasquez.
Yes, the motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. President. Those two items, 204 and 205, are a resolution to accept a real estate property from the LRA, which is 104, 106 Oxford, and also 9698 Ox Street. Both of those items were given to the city of Lawrence for $1 each, for the purpose of increasing the land required for the design of the Oliver School complex. With that said, Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to accept those two parcels to go to the city with the purpose of use it for the design of the school.
Motion has been made to approve. Is there a second?
Before making a second, can I ask a question?
So in order to engage in any type of discussion, the motion needs to be made and we need a second.
Okay, then second the motion.
Okay. Discussion, Councilor de la Cruz.
Yes, that means that the space that is in back of on Oak Street, that little space is going to be added to the school, or is going to be for parking space?
Those two parcels are located, we are right in front of the city hall, looking at the school. They are to the right of the school. There are two small parcels that are going to be used specifically for the footage of the actual design of the school. So it's going to be part of the building, not parking.
Okay.
For them to be able to get in a school that is 1,000 student school, they need a lot bigger space than what we have right now. So the LRA, the Lawrence Redevelopment Authority, actually are giving us those two parcels for $1 each to be able to use for the design of the school and eventually use it for the benefit of the 1,000 students that are going to go to that school.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilors, any other questions or comments? Council Vice President LaPlante.
Thank you very much, Council President. We're going to have a series of votes. I am not going to take as long as I am for the rest of the votes as I am probably for this first one. And so I beg your indulgence. First of all, I think all of these are going to pass tonight. So those who are waiting, perhaps watching or thinking that this is not going to pass, I just want to lay out some fears. But I think the voice that I'm about to present is an important voice and an important consideration, even though we go down this road. And it really isn't. All these series of votes are important votes. We're talking about a vote that's going to be impacting our city for many generations. I mean, the average life of these schools is in excess of 50 years. And we're looking at spending a lot of money, Council President, on this. We're looking at spending $130 million on this. And when I think about this vote, which is really, all these votes are really important in comparison to other votes that we have. I think back to our mayor in a good way when he served with us. And he would always say, you know, if this doesn't work out, we can re-examine it in a year and then we can revoke it and repeal it. This is one of those kinds of votes that once we go down this road, we're not going to have a chance to go ahead and see, oh, this is working and this is not working. Once we start putting the money, transferring the land and building this school, it is going to have a lasting impact for a number of years. And so I just wanted to couch this discussion based on the importance and the magnitude of this. And frankly, I happen to understand the individuals who may not agree with where I'm going to go on this vote. I think there's a lot of well-meaning and well-intentioned people. As I mentioned last night, we're all on the same team. Every one of us in this conference call tonight wants the very same thing, which is the very best for our residents, the very best for our children, and making sure that we really deal with the people that we represent and give them the absolute best government we possibly can. And we're all doing that. The thing comes when is our approach and how we change and how we decide what we think is in our best interest. And this cuts to the crux here is that we're looking at building a significant school in the middle of our city. And it's needed, I guess, and I only say I guess because I was, as Ms. Hernandez mentioned, I asked for the projections today, and let me just add that they were fantastic. The superintendent, I talked to her today, she was fantastic. So was Ms. Hernandez and giving me the information. I have nothing but good things to say about the exchange of information, and they were forthcoming, and I appreciate that. But if we start looking at the projections for our schools, I guess we're going to be going up. There has been some data showing that it sort of stays mainline, but we're expecting a bump in the future, maybe 2 to 3 years from now. And there's several reasons for that. But we need to make sure that we're going down this road, that there's really going to be that solid growth that we're expecting. And I suspect that we do. And I'll tell you why I think that we do expect that growth in our population, in our schools population, is because we in the city, unlike almost any other city in the Commonwealth, is going through a housing boom. Boston may be another community that's going through a housing boom. If you see the skyscrapers and all the things that show progress and growth in that city. But our city, man, if you just look around us, look at the mill conversions, look at the infield housing that's being created, look at the new construction that we're seeing over the last 10 years. We're looking at 2,000 units and more to come. So I suspect that those numbers of growth are probably real. And so the question is that I've been banging this gong for a while now, and I'm not the only one among us who has banged this gong and said, we're going to have to pay at some point. We're going to have to pay for the kind of growth that we're going through. And are we managing that growth well? Well, we're talking about congestion. We're talking about impact on city services. And tonight we're talking about the impacts on schools, where we need more bricks and mortar, more buildings to be able to do it. Many people have support. So my concern is systemically over years, not just in the last few years, but over years, we have not had a very good plan to deal with our growth, and not a very good plan dealing with how we address our growth is in tonight's setting with the school systems. I don't think we've dealt with that adequately. And now we're forced with a vote here tonight. I would like for us to have a better plan as to how we're going forward with this. I think a lot of us looked at another option, and an option that we're frankly not debating this evening. We look at the stone mill as being someplace that would be a good idea. And it's a good idea for a lot of different reasons. But the biggest drawback, I'm guessing, is because there's actually two of them. One is because of the unknowns. We don't know, maybe the contamination at the site, soil contamination, perhaps. Maybe the fact that there may be students that need to go there, but it's a lot more expensive, and we don't want to go down there. We know what we're getting. We know what we're getting at the Oliver more closely than we would at the stone mill. But a lot of people, I think, even tonight during this meeting, Council President, really wanted that, but moved elsewhere. As we get to this point, now we're having this vote. My questions are, did anybody contact any environmental agencies to see if we can do some sort of site assessment to see, so we can narrow down that guessing game, so we know a little bit more precisely how much it was going to cost, if it much at all, for any kind of remediation if there is soil damage over there? Has that been done? I don't think that it has. We're going to be talking about parking maybe here a little bit. This LRA lot doesn't really deal with parking, but if we're looking at this particular site and we're paying a premium of $130 million, we're getting this much parking. And as a matter of fact, in the vote we're going to take after this one to deal with the transfer of city property, that vote currently has parking. We're taking that over and putting a building on top of that. We're actually taking away, and we're increasing the number of potential vehicles that are going in there. People working, staff, teachers, administrators. Never mind parents going ahead and maybe want to drop off and have a chance to talk to the teachers for a little bit. There is no place to park. Council President, I voted for 4 schools: Weatherby, Partham, Gilmet, and the new high school. Each one of those schools, in the plan that was presented before the vote that I had to take, had parking. Now, you could argue a lot of parking, a little bit of parking, but at least there was some parking. And in this particular setting, not only is there no parking, we're taking away parking. And I'm thinking to myself, how are we paying a premium for something like this? It just baffles me that we're going in this direction in some ways. But I get the unfortunate reality is that we're now in this position. Unfortunately, the folks in the administration, school, and our administration, City Hall administration, feel like they've got nowhere else to go but with this. And this is no way to run a city out of sheer, we're running out of options and this is it. We need to plan better. We do need to plan better. And so the challenge that I have is, what do we learn from COVID? We know that we need in school, right? We know we want our students in school. We know that. But what lessons can we take from that? Is there an opportunity to use the lessons we've learned or our learning now through COVID with some remote learning, in that we might be able to reduce the need for this very expensive structure? And the only reason why I'm saying that is, look at what's going on in our commercial business arena, where you're seeing employees, for example, businesses don't need as much office space. They're reducing that. They're rethinking how they're dealing with businesses. Maybe we should be rethinking, and I don't have all the answers, but maybe we should be rethinking how we do education and what it means about being there, or how we be there, or how often, or staggered. And I don't know but I don't even know if we've engaged in that kind of conversation. But things are moving rapidly. And these are the kinds of concerns that I have. So parking, a lot of money. I'm concerned about vision. And now we're being asked to have these several votes. And frankly, something like the mill, my last point is that the stone mill is going to cost us, we looked at the projections in our slides, $180 million, right? And I guess that can go up, but so can this as well. The Oliver Partnership School, that can go up. But if we're looking to house more folks, not house, but we're looking to have more students in that, we may reduce the need. Maybe we can do an Oliver School in the future, not as big, not as demanding, which makes a lot more sense. Maybe we can use that approach. And something, the benefit about using that stone mill is, if we don't use that stone mill for a school, what's going to end up happening there? I don't have a crystal ball, but it would have shocked many of us if that turned into more housing units. And then when we put more people in there, we're going to exacerbate the need for more schooling or more schools. That's where I'm coming from, Council President. I'm not going to speak this much longer for the rest of the evening. I promise you that, but I wanted to get this out right now. And I do appreciate the time, and I appreciate people's work on this. And I'm open. I am tremendously open to finding new ways to deal with the issue that we're facing this evening. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Councilor Payano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do have some comments, but before I make those comments, earlier I asked if there was anything, if there was any new information. Reason I voted in favor of taking out of the committee was to give the opportunity for the presenters to present anything new that the rest of the council members, the rest of the council and those in part of the committee might not have heard. So I just want to make sure that the opportunity is there before I make my comments. Is it possible for whatever that new information is to be presented to us now?
Yes, Ms. Hernandez shared with us the information. Ms. Hernandez, did you submit that to us via email?
I submitted, apologies, Councilor President. We submitted, my understanding is that the submission of the enrollment data directly from the superintendent was shared with Councilor LaPlante and perhaps yourself, Councilor Payano. I'm not aware that it was shared with anyone else. I'm happy to project a PowerPoint if it would be helpful to the council.
Yeah, that would be ideal. John, can you please allow Ms. Hernandez to share?
And I'm locating it now. 1 second.
In the meantime, I know Mayor Rivera wanted to address the information provided by Councilor LaPlante earlier. Mayor Rivera.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. While we wait for Donis Fernandez to find that information, just want a real quick answer to the question about whether or not we had done extra effort to find out what's underneath the soil there. I think we've spent anywhere between $40,000 and $60,000 trying to find out what was underneath there, and frankly, that's what got us to that number. And the idea of this is talking about the stone mill. That got us to the understanding that what we could find out about it, chasing DEP, and these documents, they're called AULs, to make sure that what was capped underneath there, where they were, what we didn't touch, what had been touched, how old the stuff was underneath there. They did borings and site investigations. And we tried to be thorough about it because, what a great thing would be to come over that hill and see that beautiful stone mill as a school and have that stewardship taken care of. And we just couldn't put a finer point on how much that would cost. So we did spend time. We did work with DEP, with the owners of the site, to find out really what was underneath there. But, because before the mill was there, there was the whole time that it's been there's been the mill, and they've been all that stuff that was there and capped to make the parking lot. What we do know 100% to be true is what was there before the Oliver was the Oliver. There was no other industrial stuff underneath there. So their expectation that there'll be a surprise underneath the Oliver School was actually less. But I wanted just to make you aware that we did spend money, time, energy, and effort to try to vet out the stone mill as a site, and that really is what broke our heart. The last thing we wanted to do is have open it up and start doing this thing and then find more problems there that we can afford, and frankly, that we would want to have our children go to school on. But I wanted to give you that information.
I believe, Councilor President, that I am now sharing my screen. Again, this information, I want to be upfront and say that this information, it's usually presented by our Superintendent of Enrollment. And this was presented to our LAE board on our enrollment for school year 19 and 20, and also some projections for school year 2021. The slide that you're seeing here, it's what our enrollment for SY 19-20 all these years in comparison, right? How the number of students enrollment has increased since 2008. Major increase it's been major increase and then staggering at about 13 or so thousand students. This is in terms of our major changes to building capacity. This captures what our capacity, long-term solutions and short-term solutions. And it's a projection for 2023, 2025. And as you can see here, what the district have projected in terms of how we would deal with the influx of students was accounting for the building, the new Oliver School building, and the other school that follows in a couple of years from when this project hopefully starts, which is the Leahy School. In terms of those are the long-term projections of solutions. In terms of short-term, we continue to have higher class size caps in our classrooms. We got creative, the district got creative with adding existing classrooms in existing schools where possible. And then just rezoning some of the students to schools that have more capacity, allowing that's allowable through a variance process that we have. So students have the opportunity or families to apply to stay at an existing school perhaps, or to go to a school outside of their community or their community school for various reasons. This just shows what our 1920 enrollment looked like, where there were some slight increases in terms of grades and then some slight decreases and offsetting of enrollment increases. This is more particular to identifying which schools had reached their maximum class size at the time of this presentation, and this was done in September of last year. And then this just talks a little bit about what happens when a school or class reaches the grade cap. We would temporarily close that grade at that particular school. And then we would identify a school within the neighborhood that we can enroll the student in. So a clear example of that, I'll use the Weatherby and the Frost here in South Lawrence, because they're within close proximity. Our student population, they tend to be kind of like our community school for our South Lawrence families. So if we were enrolling students in the 8th grade, let's say, in the family, because of the address, would be enrolled at the Frost, but that grade needs to close because we are at a max capacity, then we would look into 8th grade classrooms at the Weatherby, and then with conversations with the principal, with the families, then we would then enroll the family at the Weatherby. And offer the opportunity to families if the grade opens up or a classroom at their assigned school. So if there's a grade that opens up eventually at the Frost, then we would work with the family and give them the opportunity to go to their community school. Again, this is more specific to what was happening that year in terms of schools. In this, we start now a little bit of the projections for this year. This is what we know plus what we don't know. What we know is the MSBA data on birth trends. It's usually the data that the MSBA uses in terms of showing enrollment projections, which it doesn't usually take into consideration like immigration or migration patterns within the city. It doesn't also take into consideration the influx of students and families that we have. I was explaining to earlier Councilor LaPlante that usually we would see an increase in student enrollment around the months of December and January. And that was because in previous years, that's when usually the countries, the families from like the Dominican Republic would be getting their visas, will be getting visas approved. So then families will be moving into the city around December and January. Therefore, our enrollment would increase at that point. Our enrollment has increased a lot also because of families moving in from Puerto Rico. And as we know that state had gone through several natural disasters. So we saw a huge influx of that population here and in our schools. Current and past enrollment trends, what we know, and any planned expansions of independent or charter school grades. And then this is what we know in terms of what our enrollment numbers looked like by grade level, comparison between 2018-2019 school year to 2019-2020. So we went from 13,658 in 2018-2019 to 13,778 in 2019-2020. And then what we don't know, right? So our impact of continued residential expansion that Councilor LaPlante also spoke about, the development of many of those mills, and also world events and natural disasters, such as what I just said, the hurricane in 2017, which brought about 127 students. You can see here the number of students that brought to us from Puerto Rico. And we continue to to educate those students that were impacted by the disaster. And then the projections for 2020, 2021. Again, the kindergarten classes remaining strong within our neighborhoods. We know that at the Oliver School, we no longer serve kindergarteners because we couldn't, we had to discontinue serving, and therefore they go to another neighborhood school because we just didn't have the capacity there. If and when we build a new school, we would have the opportunity to bring back kindergarten. So this school can potentially become a K-8 complex, which is the district vision, providing the students the opportunity to start at one school and finish all the way through 8th grade at the same school without having to move to travel through different schools for their educational experience. So they would have to go for kindergarten to one school. 1st through 5th grade, they would have to be at another school, i.e. the Oliver, and 6th through 8th grade, they will have to go to another school, i.e. the Up Oliver. So 3 different schools throughout their educational experience before they even make it to high school, i.e. another school, eventually the Lawrence High School. And as you can see here, even then, our long-term plan was to maximize our opportunities for added capacity. And this has been, identifying the building of the new school of the Oliver School and the projected building of the also renovating the Leahy School. And again, this was presented to the LEE last year. I'm happy to.
Councilors, have any questions or comments at this point?
Yes, Council President, I have a question.
Councilor de la Cruz.
I have the same concerns that Mr. LaPlante has. But at the same time, I understand that we need the renovation of this building because we have a lot of children walking to school. Remember that kids are not being transported from one far school from where they live, because we're renovating some buildings on S Street. Then we will have kids walking, crossing the park to be able to get into school. But my recommendation is why not to buy the building that is next to the Oliver School that used to be the Robert Frost building, to be able to add more space, but at the same time, that school needed to have more parking. Where are teachers going to park? The little space that they have in the back, it has been always difficult. I taught at that school and I understand how difficult it was to park in the morning. Then I think that they should get more land if it is possible. I know the church might not going to sell any part of the properties, but maybe we need to ask if they wanted to sell more buildings around there. And having the school so close inside the city, so close to the community, this is what's going to happen. In 20 years, Loren is going to have 3-story, 5-story building because we are growing in humans' capacity. But I think that before making the final decision, the Robert Frost building should be part of the Oliver School because of safety for the community, or safety of all the people living around there, and because of the space that is needed for this building to be allocated in the center of the city, which is going to bring a chaos because of the parking, and because at the same time, we will have kids working to school. And as the parents, I wouldn't like my kids to go to the Leonard School or to go far away to the Mills location on Canal Street. I'd rather want my kids to be closer to the house or a place where it's more neighborhood related. Then my opinion is that they should buy the land next to it to make sure that we have more space and to Tinkham Park as well. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilor De La Cruz.
Mr. President.
Councilor Payano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Mrs. Hernandez for the presentation. I think I think throughout all the discussion, it is clear that we are up to to the capacity of the number of students that we can serve. And for years, we have been talking about the need for building a new school. I want to say that I wish that we had kept, even though I voted to discharge, hoping that there'd be some other information that perhaps I had not heard of. I was really hoping that we would be able to engage in more discussion in the housing committee. I hope that if it's being discharged and it's being moved forward, it's because there's been consensus on another matter. I will say that myself, I echo Councilor LaPlante's comments regarding the other location where this could have been had. I know that potentially this could have been a much more expensive project, but it is hard for me to put a sticker price on education, especially since that area, in my mind, would have been sort of the best of all possible choices, not just because of the added seats, whereas the current location, we're looking at an extra 200 seats. That location at the Everett Mill was, double, if not triple that. But as well, I think, towards the end of Councilor LaPlante's comments, he made something very, very important, which is that Everett Mill, in that stone mill, in 10, 20, 30 years, will it remain how it is, or will it go the way that other mill buildings have been going, which is creating residential property and in turn creating more of a demand on the public services that the city needs to meet. Now, moving away from that, I think, an important thing that I've stated at our housing committee is, the Oliver Building Committee met, perhaps there's other information that I'm not aware of. So moving past the, which choice was the best. One of the reasons I voted in favor a few weeks ago over the money that was put forward for this, even though I did not necessarily agree with the project in its entirety, is that I thought that there were certain things that was brought forward several years ago to Lawrence Public Schools, certain concerns. I thought there was these certain concerns that were addressed over the course of the housing committee and questions that were asked. We essentially learned that there wasn't that there hasn't really been a lot of thought that has been put into creating different ways to address the parking situation. It sounds like it's at the center of the city. There's nothing else that we can do. There's concerns. I have deep concerns over the number of students that would be walking to the Oliver. And I know that I've heard from certain individuals where when we were younger and we were at the Oliver, that wasn't that big of an issue. But I would say in the last 10, 15 years, there has been an increase. There has been an increase in traffic in that area, an increase in people driving. And there's a lot of parents that I've talked to that would rather drive their kids to school than have them walk through Jackson Street, Lawrence Street, or even Haverhill Street. That being said, the third concern that we talked about at the housing committee was an issue of traffic in the morning and in the afternoon, as far as was there any sort of plan put in place to essentially address the added students that would be coming into that area. Because one of the things that we need to take into account is that we're not just increasing 200 students to this new building. We're also moving around 300, 400 students from the Up Oliver that are at the old Lawrence High School. We're moving that away opening up these seats, and even if the district has no plans for in the next couple of years using that, those are seats that are available that I'm sure that in a decade, the district will find need. So, potentially would be increasing that area by 500 students. So I thought it would have been important to create, to have certain things in place and certain ideas in place. And not all plans are perfect, but something in place to alleviate concerns around this and have us ensure that this is something that could span, like Councilor LaPlante said, 100 years. I think one of the things that I'm looking at this project, it looks to me like it's a project to basically meet the need of today, not necessarily to meet a plan for how Lawrence could potentially look like in 50 or 75 years. With the information that's with this missing information, I would not be able to vote in favor of this right now. I really hope that it were to go back to the housing committee so we can see if there's a compromise or if there's some type of movement on trying to create these plans instead of leaving it for some other committee or some other eventuality to take place. I thank you, Mr. President, for the time. And also, I want to thank everyone that's has the proponents of this project. I think everyone that has been engaged in the discussion really cares about the students of the city. And I think we're all trying to do our best, as best as we can, to look out for their interest.
Thank you, Councilor Payano. I believe Mayor Rivera asked to speak as well, unless there's any other councilors. Mayor Rivera?
Thank you, Council President. I just want to just clarify some stuff because I think there is information that is missing or maybe misunderstood. First of all, we don't own the stone mill, so we don't have the authority to do the things that we want to do there. There would have been an acquisition cost, but the number of seats at the stone mill would have been 1,000 students. That's it. It would have which is the same number we're going to have at the Oliver School. The parking today is going to be what the parking is in the future. There is going to be a net change of spots over from, students coming from the old high school going to that school now. There is going to be organized traffic flow. We're setting it up so we can use the back of the school for drop-offs and pickups. And so that stuff has been thought about. I want to be clear about it. There's an education plan with, 10, 15 educators from the school with the superintendent and her curriculum staff to make sure the classroom sizes and the fit was right. MSBA wouldn't give us money if we didn't do the education plan to meet the education needs of the students. So I want to be clear that this has been very well thought out. We've actually spent a lot of money thinking this through. But the problem is that the expectation that we're going to solve the parking problem while we're trying to build an education facility and building around cars, that just isn't what people are doing today because especially in a community of 6.7 square miles, we couldn't, with almost 44,000 vehicles that are registered in our city, plus the idea that we can solve the parking problem is just one thing that's unsurmountable. We're trying to solve the education problem. And the seats that we're building are for students that are here today. I know everybody's worried about students that are going to come and more students. Today, students at the Oliver School are having subpar education because they're sitting in too many in a classroom. Some of them are learning in hallways, and some of them are learning at the where elevators open, in basements that are poorly ventilated, in classrooms that are very old. These seats are for students that are in the system today. And yeah, it seems like, why wouldn't we build something for the future? The Massachusetts School Building Authority, that's not what they do. They're gonna give us more than half of the money to build this project. More than half of the money to build this project. The school, they're gonna get it free. They're gonna give us that money. And so we're gonna address the current problem. We could put it on the ballot to try to build a building that's twice the size. I'm not sure where we would put it, but to deal with a future number of students. But I'm here to tell you, I'm pretty sure that the electorate would not vote for an override for a building that's that big. So I just want to be clear about the information. We have an education plan that the teachers put together that deals with all these things. Parking wasn't an afterthought. Parking just wasn't one of the problems we're trying to solve, because there is no way to solve that problem. In this city that's so small with so many things. So I just want to be clear about it. The 1,000, there was only going to be 1,000 seats at the mill. There's only going to be 1,000 seats in this. These are for seats for kids that are here today. Number of kids that are walking today are going to be the same number of kids that are walking tomorrow. That some of these worries are really unfounded. And you're right, Councilor Plant. Once we build this thing, we can't go back. But if we don't build these things, if we don't build this school, if we don't transfer this land so that we can build the school, and if we don't do those things, the irreparable harm to the students that are sitting in those classrooms, we can't go back on that either. And I wish we had the money and the resources and the land to deal with a future number, but we just don't. But I just want to clear about those things that we're talking about: 1,000 at the mill, 1,000 at the Oliver site. Parking was going to be the same. Seating for kids that are here today. Number of people walking today, same as before. And the amount of money we get from the SBA, they don't let us get extravagant, is what the number we get. And it's what we can afford. And so I hope I clarified some of that information.
And if I may, Councilor President, just
Ms. Hernandez?
thank you. I just also want to add in reference to the traffic study, because this project, it's on a timeline and certain things happen during a certain time. There was a traffic study that was scheduled to be conducted over in the area where the Oliver School is. It had to be canceled due to COVID. We can potentially move forward, but there would be nothing to really do right now. There's no school kids walking. There's the heavy traffic that would usually be around the areas. It's not happening right now. So the traffic study was in the books to be conducted, but then COVID hit and we had to reschedule. We had to cancel that process. And in terms of, we did do a bus routing, or in terms of if we built at the stone mill. And actually what we noticed, and this is just me lay reading the ed plan, what we did notice is that the number of the kids that are currently walking now would be walking a longer distance if they were walking to the stone mill. They're walking about half a mile now to get to the Oliver School, or perhaps to the Up Oliver. They'll be walking a longer distance to the stone mill. Those were also some of the disadvantages, I guess, just in comparison to the stone mill versus the current Oliver School.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard?
I have a question.
Councilor Levy?
Yes. So what I'm hearing in here right now is what I saw is that we're gonna have 1,000 children, but is in both a school or just only that's in just only one? Are they all?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Councilor. I was a little confusing.
Yes.
The question was there going to be more students at the new Oliver School? Was there a possibility to do more students at the Stone Mill, and how many in comparison to the 1,000 seats at the Oliver? Okay. And I wanted to clarify that if we had gone through the Stone Mill, which we cannot do, that number would have been 1,000, just like the 1,000 we're putting at the Oliver. I'm sorry, we're not building both of them, and it's the point was we could probably maybe put more seats over there, and there wasn't that opportunity. It was a 1,000-seat school at the stone mill, which we couldn't do because of the contamination in the ground and the total cost of the project. But the same number of seats are being built at the Oliver.
Yes, I understand the part for the STOM school. That's 1,000 just only in there. But what I hear is like the 1,000 children for the Oliver, it was practically divided between the old high school and that's the Oliver school.
So the current, if I may, Councilor President, the Oliver School right now, the one on Haverhill Street, we
Yes.
call Oliver Partnership, and that's a grades 1 through 5 school. So think of elementary school. And then our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, those students are at the Up Oliver, which is the building, the old high school. It's a school within the old high school. Once we build the new school, then we'll be able to merge the grades. So we would be bringing the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades that are currently at the old high school into the new Oliver school. So then we will have combined grades, kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. So we bring in the about 400 or so students that are currently in the old high school over to the Oliver school.
So what is going to happen with the old Loring High School? So are we going to put support?
The projections really there. The district has no intention of doing anything other than possibly offering that space up to. So in the old high school right now, we kind of have 4 programs. We have an alternative high school, 2 alternative high school, which is the High School Learning Center. We have INT, which is the newcomers program. We have our Up Oliver students, and then we also have our SES, our Students for Exceptional Studies, who are kind of like the medical fragile and that sort of stuff. So there's 4 programs in that building by floors. Once we remove the Up Oliver students from there, we can potentially, the SES can potentially grow a little or expand our classrooms to the 3rd floor to give them a little bit more room. Or we can potentially have one of the alternative programs expand upstairs for a little bit more room capacity. That's right now, those are the conversations, and those could be potential projections. Or once, if we also build the Leahy School, we can use it as swing space to host those students there while the Leahy School is built.
So how many floors do we have at the Oliver School right now?
Floors, levels.
Yes.
Levels. Maybe 1 to 3 floors. That's a good question. 3.
Yeah, it's weird because the basement is also being used, and it's kind of a split level.
It's 4.
The architects are on. I don't know if the architect can maybe answer that question more thoroughly.
Yeah, the existing building today has 3 stories at the southern side facing the Campagnon Commons and 4 stories facing the O'Neill playgrounds. It starts about a half level down, obviously has accessibility challenges amongst other issues.
So 3 and 4, depending on which angle you go into the building.
So the plans that you are presenting right now is the final plans for that, or can be, play a little bit, maybe thinking in having another floor or another labor and uses some of the lands that we are seeking or we are trying to transfer, like to use like for the parking?
I'm happy to answer that if you want me to. So yes. We are expanding up already, Councilor Levy. And we're using that land, hopefully that you will pass on to the project because we need it. There are spaces that the existing building simply doesn't have, which are necessary for the educational program, as the mayor and Adonis have well described, including things like a true gymnasium and other spaces which take up larger areas than that existing footprint has. And that's why we need that footprint to expand over. So we're saving the southern, more historically recognized side at the 3 stories, but then really going to our maximum volume on the northern side of the building so we can accommodate those programs, placing the middle school on the upper levels, bigger kids, longer legs. They'll be on the top 2 floors.
Yes, but that is what I said. So those spaces can be built, in another labor and have the same amount of space to use it for the whatever the use is going to be.
So if I may, so with the
And use that yes, and use that the floors, the first floor as whatever the parking or whatever space that we are needing right now. And that's all the question and council are asking for at this point.
We need all of that space for the building program to meet the needs of the educational program needs, the ed plan needs that the mayor described, that there is no additional space for parking for this modern, 21st century building.
Okay. So another question is not for you right now, maybe for the mayor or for Danny. If we vote in favor today on the acquisition, because that is what we're looking, the acquisition of the land next to the school on both sides. That is what we are trying to do today, no?
Yes.
Okay, if we say, okay, this is the end of this conversation, or still you guys can come to, still coming to us, and maybe we can keep talking about what we are looking for in the future for the traffic story that we are looking, maybe to start looking around and see how we can address some of the issues regarding the parking, the children, the family, and everything. So if this is like at the end, if we just say okay, or we can make it okay, and if we accepted the transfer of all of this land with the recommendation that at the labor, at least at the labor or the housing committee, we still keep talking and getting to maybe not the final solution, but at least to a solution that maybe can satisfy everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. This is not the final bite at the apple. The city council really holds all the cards. Somebody was saying, I can't believe this is slowed down. I said, listen, this city is the city council city. And if they don't want a new school, they can decide not to vote for a new school. You have all the power. And so the next vote that will come before you will be, how do we pay for it? If you think finding parking is hard, wait till you have to figure out how to find the money for it. We can't. Reason why we haven't built a new school in this area is because we can't afford to. And so we're hoping that the MSBA will reimburse us at the rate that we're expecting, and we're going to pay less than half. But be clear about it, that's still going to be a burden on us. So you can look at the way that the CFO, Mark Iannello, is going to come with you with a pro forma on how we expect to pay for it. And you could say, nah, that's too expensive. Or, that's not a way we can fund it. And then that'll be the last word. So at the very least, we have to come back for you just to figure out the answer to pay for it. But I'll tell you, the MSBA will pull up this video and they will say the city council seems questionable on whether or not they do want the school. And we have a line of 20 cities who want to build schools. Why would we slow down the school building project? Why don't we just let Newton in front while Lawrence figures out what they want to do? Why don't we let North Andover in front while Lawrence figures out how to build more parking? So those are the things that I want to be clear about. This is not just that we're trying to do this here. The state who wants to pay for more than half. By the way, we're going to try to even make it more. We're working with the state delegation to try to get it to 80% because we're a school in receivership for another bunch of reasons. We're trying to make the state pay for more of the school. They want to know that we are in agreement that we need a school. And so this vote is important because it says we have the land. The architects can go and design it. And I think your suggestions are actually being implemented. We're going to go up use as much land as possible. We can't buy land that's not ours. There's a conflict. We couldn't buy that building that used to be the Frost building because the city councilor is involved in that, and so we can't buy that. It would be against the ethics violation. So all that aside, you will have a vote after we build this together. And by the way, we are working with the community. I don't know if there's someone on that could talk about the outreach that we're doing with parents and the like. It's not like Odanis, the superintendent, and I and the architects are talking about this on the side. A school building committee made up of community members, teachers, educators, administrators, and our conversations with parents and students. And so there is a big conversation going, and we would love to come back again and have more conversation about it. But we got to get a hold of these buildings so that the architects can say to MSBA, who's going to pay more than half, hey, we have control of the land. This is what we want to build on it. How much is that going to cost? We're going to go tell City Council, hey, City Council, can we pay for it? And you guys can say no.
This is what I would like to see, that we know with the constitution that's, if we say yes tonight just to get the land, that is not that it's over here, that we continue working with you guys, in any resolution on any finding or anything that we could help, to satisfy not just only the city council, because really is not satisfying the city council. What we are looking is the best thing for our residents, for our children, for our teachers, the parents, and everybody that is out there that's really feel confident with what we are doing in here. So that is what we need to think about. So on the children principle, the children of our city, that's at the end, they are the one who need the education and need our support and everything that we can give it to them.
If I may also, Councilor President, add to that, Councilor Levy, the other thing that unfortunately COVID has slowed us down a little bit is on that outreach to parents. It was our hope that we could be in front of parents right now during the school year, showing them the project, getting them more enthusiastic about the new school. We just finalized the translation for it. And the architect team it's putting the marketing flyers together that I hope to get in front of you soon, in front of all of the community in terms of the new school. However, we're trying to get creative. We'll be hosting some meetings for parents to just engage them. We're engaging our LTU members. All of our teachers are engaged and excited for that. All of the teachers are actually very excited to have a new building, hopefully soon. None have asked about parking, crossing my fingers, that's a good thing, but I mean, they are really excited to see a new school so that they can have an opportunity to have that better learning experience for them and their students in the classroom. So it would not be the last time you'll see our faces here coming before you. Like the mayor said, this is just one instance. We'll be coming before you throughout the process for a lot of other things, especially the funding that will be next. We have a submission to the MSBA that we need to do that is due by the end of December to continue to move the process. So based on our timeline, we should be coming back to council around February or so to be discussing the actual cost and the funding for this project.
So what about meeting before the 29th of December through the housing committee to see how, the progress that you've been doing on some of the question and the concern that some of the council have?
Before we continue, I want to have there's some clarity that I need. So will we receive the funding if the vote is not taken tonight? And I think that to me that's pressing. I think that there is a sense of urgency on, if we agree that we need to build a school, is there an urgency to take the decision tonight? Because if we delay it, what will that look like for the funding?
Yeah, I think that that's a crucial piece, and I'm anxious to hear what Councilor Rodriguez has to say about it, because I think he understands the timeline of it. If we don't transfer the land, it's assigned from, if we don't transfer the land now, it's assigned to the MSBA that the city council is not behind the project. It's very simple. You could have trepidations on it and say, well, let's get the land. So now the MSBA is clear. They have the land on where to build the school. The architects are going to go and meet out all the programming based on the education plan. And then how much is that going to cost us? With a pencil, they figure out how much it's going to cost us. Then we say, okay, we need this much money. State's going to pay this much of it. Lawrence, can we pay the balance? Come back to you. But we can't do that. They won't let us do it unless we have the land. And I know later on, before I want Adonis to tell everybody who's on, if you have it in front of you, the members of the board of the building committee. It's not just us. It's a big board of building committee. But the council president is correct. If tonight's vote is no, don't transfer the land, then we will have then the project is dead.
That's it.
So
yes,
tonight's vote is so to ensure that Councilor Levy understands, tonight's votes determines what happens, because if we don't have the land, essentially we're saying we do not wish to move on with the construction, and as a result, no funding is necessary. So we close the door to the funding source. I think that what was mentioned earlier by Mayor Rivera is that the council does get to look at another vote separate from this one, from the land acquisition, in terms of the debt service, which is separate. So that's another final say that we have as a body. But in terms of the physical construction of the building, not payment for the building, for the physical construction, if we don't have the land to build, we won't get funding source, and the other vote essentially will never come to us, because there's no need to address debt service if we don't construct. I have a couple of councilors and who have raised their hands.
One thing.
One last question from Councilor Levy, then Councilor Rodriguez, and Councilor De La Cruz.
No, it's not a question, it's a clarification.
Clarification.
So I think that we all know that we are in need, or not just only of the Oliver School. I think so that we are in need of more school in the city of Lawrence for our children. Yes, and I understand that we should vote or we should agree to transfer the land. What I'm saying is, if we can meet, not just to discuss the land, but just to keep discussing the way if we are getting the information that we are looking for in some way, and keep working with you guys at the school department, okay, trying to figure it out, some of the issues that we are presenting tonight and yesterday. I'm not talking also, okay, I know the parking, maybe it is something that we are not be able to solve, because like the mayor say, in a 7 square feet that we have at the city of Lawrence, it's very hard right now with the growing that we are having in here, and we all of this. I'm very clear on all of this thing, okay? So maybe, yes, we can figure it out that we can have some parking here, some parking in there, to keep using Hebrew Street, Jackson Street, whatever, where people can get and find a parking, okay? But what I'm saying is that if we can continue talking with you guys, inclusive of, we transfer, we pass tonight, let's say that we pass tonight the transfer of all the lands, but if we can keep meeting with you through the housing committee, having another meeting and see how we are doing the progress right now.
Councilor Rodriguez?
Thank you.
That's something that is definitely possible. we can definitely put an item on the agenda, be transferred to the housing committee to get updates, frequent update from the school department in terms of this project. That's something that is positive for the sake of the process that we as a city council are involved, not just through asking us for proof. Things could be funds or it could be a land transfer today, but instead be part of the process. That's something that we can definitely have an item on the agenda and be getting frequent updates on that.
Councilor De La Cruz?
Yeah, and then hold
No,
on a second.
Councilor Rodriguez.
That was an answer for Council Levy, but I have a quick comment. Just thinking this thing through. Tonight, what we're doing is a vote to transfer real estate property from the city of Lawrence and from the LRA, the Lawrence Redevelopment Authority, for the improvement, reconstruction, and enhancement of the Leahy School. Let's say perhaps that eventually down the road, we actually approve this land to be transferred tonight. And eventually down the road, for some reason, one way or another, the project doesn't go through. It could be anything. I'm being negative. I'm completely in support of this project, but I'm being negative. What happened with that land? That land is going to stay there and it's going to be for the improvement of the school. Eventually down the road, I'm pretty sure that the mayor, what he going to do? Okay, let's build a parking lot for the students, for the teacher or whatever. If the project doesn't go through, but we still transfer the land for the project, that land could be used for the improvement of the school. And that's basically the bottom line. If we don't transfer the land tonight, the project is not going through. Those lands, those parcels are going to go back to the LRA, and we're not going to be able to do nothing. If we transfer the land to the city for the reconstruction and the improvement of the school, what we're doing is opening the possibility of having a better school on that location. And if something happened that doesn't go through, we can definitely use those lands to do something else that is on relationship to the betterness of the school. It's a win-win situation.
Councilor De La Cruz?
Thank you, Council President. As a former teacher in that building, I know how important it is to renovate the building. That building needed to be redone. We also had to understand that it's one of those historical places in the city that we would like to keep as historical. At the same time, we cannot get rid of a school that are so close to the people in the community. We have a lot of students walking to the Oliver School and feeling safe. Then that if we don't get the land today, we're going to be losing the opportunity of renovating the Oliver School. And it is time that I understand the parking problem, but at the same time, if teacher needed to park far away, they will have to do that. What we need is to have a place for our kids to be educated. Then that building, teaching on that basement, it was horrible. Then that building needed to be renovated. If we don't vote tonight for the land, then we're going to be losing the opportunity to start such a wonderful project. A school means education to our community. A school means that we are promoting education more than just building housing. Then let's vote tonight and make sure that we are thinking ahead of 20 years ahead of what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Then I think it's about time that we decided to vote for what is needed in the community at this moment. More schools. I hope we can build 10 more schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor De La Cruz. Any other councilors? Okay, seeing there's none. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
What is the motion, Mr. President?
Mr. Clerk, please repeat the motion as stated by, I believe it was Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes, the motion is to approve items 204 and 205 for a resolution to accept the real property from the LRA, as seconded by Councilor Dela Cruz.
Correct. Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilor Estel Reyes, noted. Councilor Anna Levy.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes. Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor David Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Pavel Payano.
No.
Councilor Maria Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor Mark LaPlante, Vice President.
No.
And Council President Kendris Vasquez.
My vote is yes. I have 6, 2, 1. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, motion passed.
Council President, we have item 206, which is the same situation. The only difference is this is going to be transferred from the city of Lawrence instead of the LRA. And I would like to make that as a form of a motion to accept this parcel for the improvement of the school.
Okay. Before I accept that motion, I know I have Attorney Ruano who wishes to speak in reference to the process. Attorney Ruano.
Hi, good evening. So item 206 and 207 essentially is the process by which the city of Lawrence, through the city council, is transferring city-owned land to the custody control of a different department. So the purpose of 206 and 207 is to transfer the custody of the 206 and 207 is to transfer the properties that we will eventually get from LRA to the school department. But I wanted to highlight that we don't own it yet. The vote you just took is to authorize the purchase. So once the purchase has gone through, the votes on 206 and 207 can be taken to then transfer the ownership from the city of Lawrence to the city of Lawrence School Department. We put them all on at the same time because we just wanted them to be already on the agenda and not making their way through the city ordinance, through the subcommittee procedure once certain votes are taken. But we need to first purchase that land from LRA, which you just authorized. So as soon as that vote is official, we can purchase it. And then you can take the vote to transfer those two parcels to the school department. I contrast that with item number 208. 208, that property is already the city of Lawrence's. That one, you can go ahead and vote to transfer the custody control over to the school department. And then the final one, I don't know if it's Cardinal Way. Is that maybe 209? I'm sorry, I don't have the agenda in front of me, but the discontinuance of Cardinal Way, a vote on that cannot be taken until you receive the report back from the planning board. From what I understand, the planning board tried to meet on this at the beginning of November, but there was something was wrong with the public notice. And so they weren't able to fully meet and issue a report on that. And they are scheduled to now meet at 6 p.m. on Monday, November 30th. So the discontinuance of a public way almost follows the same as a zoning change. So city council cannot take a vote on that until they receive the report from the planning board. So I just wanted to highlight, because I know that Dan McCarthy was aware of us, but he's not on the call right now.
All right, great. So we are ready for 20820, which is a resolution to transfer the real estate property for the purpose of or to another department, which is the city, the school department for the city of Lawrence. So item 2A, I would like to make a motion to approve that resolution.
There's a motion on the floor.
Second.
It's been
Discussion.
second. Discussion, Councilor Payano.
Okay, I maybe I'm just confused. Didn't the city attorney just say we can't vote on this until the purchase is done, or can we vote on it now?
206, 207.
206, 207, and now 208 is ready to go.
Yeah, so Councilor Payano, item number 208, that piece of property is already city owned. That's the parking lot.
That's the piece of property to the right, to
Got
the
it.
left of the school.
Got it.
Yeah, the city attorney was referring to the two previous, 20620 and 20720, which I think maybe we should make motion to table at this point.
It is possible that we
Yeah.
can put the projection of the lamps.
I'm sorry, Councilor Rebecca?
It is possible to put the projection of the lamp that was presented before.
I have it up if somebody wants to see it.
Yes, I think so. That could be good.
Okay. John, can you assist the mayor to? Okay.
Great.
What is your first now?
So the first the two that you just did were these two.
The 204 and 205.
Correct.
That's 204, 205 are to the right of the school. The green square and the yellow square right next to it. The resolution for those is item 206, 207. And then what the next item is item 208, which is the resolution to accept partial on the green, that one. That is already belong to the city, and we're going to transfer to the school department. Clear?
So this is for the 208. I'm sorry.
That's the 132, 134 Oaks. That's on the left side of the school. So that parking right there, the green, right now, that one. So that's already owned by the city, and what we're doing is just transfer it to another entity, which is the school department, to be able to use that land for the same purpose, which is building the school, and increase the actual land to be able to hold 1,000 students on that building. Same situation of the other two. The only difference is that the other two belong to the Lawrence Redevelopment Authority, and which we're not going to be able to transfer to the school department yet, because we need to purchase those before we actually transfer it. We authorize it. We authorize the city attorney and the administration to go ahead and purchase it for $1. But we cannot transfer it until we have actually the purchase and sale agreement and all the stuff, all the legal matters that need to be done. And then in the near future, we're going to take a vote for those two parcels, that one, the green one, and the other green square that are right next to the left of the school right now. But item 20820 is an item that is for the parking lots right next to the school to the left. And that one, yes, we can definitely transfer that one to the school, according to the city attorney.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor, for sharing the screen.
Thank you.
Councilors, any other questions or comments?
Council President, just got a parliamentary question for you.
Councilor LaPlante.
I just want to make sure I'm clear on the numbers. One of these is one that we need to wait to take action until the planning board, I think the planning board gives us their recommendation. Which item is that?
209.
208.
No, 1 second. Councilor Rodriguez, we're referring to 206 and 207, correct?
Yes, we did 204, 205, which is the authorization for the city to go ahead and purchase the land. 207 are the resolution to transfer those to the school department for the purpose of improving the school, the actual building.
Oh, okay.
208 is a parking lot that already belonged to the city, and we're going to actually resolute to be able to transfer that to the school department. And 209, which is basically what Councilor LaPlante is referring or asking, that's the resolution to discontinue the Cardinal Way, which we're going to have to wait for the zoning board to send us a report.
So, Council President, just so I understand correctly, the answer is 209 is the one we have to hold off on.
Correct.
And not only that, on 209, I just, do we need to also hold a public hearing on that one?
Yeah, Attorney Buana.
No public hearing is required on it.
Okay.
So something that is very important also about that item is that that Mr. LaPlante was bring that up on the housing committee is that Cardinal Way is an owner of a World War One, and the school department is gonna keep that way as it is. The only reason that they're doing that is to be able to have more access to the actual building. But the way is gonna stay with the same name, honoring Cargello.
Well, this is the one on the left side still.
Yeah, that's the Cardello Way, the little alleyway that is in between the school and the parcels next to it.
So how does this gonna affect the, okay, so right now, see, we can vote on the 209, how does it gonna affect whatever that we're doing right now?
No, it's not gonna be, nothing is gonna be affected. The only difference is that we're gonna have to wait for the next meeting perhaps, or I don't know when, but probably the next meeting to be able to do a resolution to transfer those two parcels that came from the LRA that didn't belong to the city of Lawrence before, and then transfer over to school department. One more meeting and we'll be all set.
Okay. So we do have, Mr. Clerk, do you record a motion for 208? Or is it?
Yes, the pending motion from what I can see is to approve 208 presented by Councilor Rodriguez, seconded by Councilor Dela Cruz. That is the resolution to transfer property from the City of Lawrence,
Okay.
132 to 134 Oak Street.
Seeing there's no further questions or comments on this motion, Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Council Vice President LaPlante.
No.
Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz. Councilor Dela Cruz.
Councilor De La Cruz. Okay, you may continue, Mr. Clerk.
You move on at this. Councilor Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilor Payano.
No.
Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Anna Levy.
Yes.
Councilor Estel Reyes, noted, and Council President Vasquez.
My vote is yes. You have 6-1.
That's what I have is recorded.
Okay. Motion passed.
Oh, Council President, I would like to make a motion to table item 206-7 until we actually get a portion of sale agreement or a portion of those lands.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly second. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
What's the motion, Council President?
Motion to table documents 206 and 207.
Thank you.
By the way, we can include 209 as well because we're gonna have to wait.
And document 209.
All set?
Okay, Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilor Estel Reyes, noted. Councilor Anna Levy.
No.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
Yes.
Council Vice President LaPlante.
Yes.
And Council President Vasquez.
My vote is yes.
Tabled. As to all items.
This is the end for the Housing Committee.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Rodriguez. Councilors, going back, we had before we left the withdrawal items in the last meeting. Unless there's any objections, is there a motion to take them as a block and withdraw all the documents?
So moved.
Motion has been made, and it has been properly second to take them as a block and to be withdrawn. Any discussion?
Discussion?
Council Vice President LaPlante?
Yeah, I'm stalling for about 3 seconds here, Council President. I appreciate your patience.
Not a problem.
One last check. Thank you very much, Council President.
Okay. Seeing there's no further questions or comments, Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
As to the withdrawals appearing on the agenda, taken as a block. Which way am I going? Okay, there we go. Council Vice President LaPlante.
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Anna Levy.
Yes.
Councilor Estelle Reyes noted, and Council President Vasquez.
My vote is yes. Motion passed. Okay. We have now new documents. So new business, we have document 23620. It's a handicap parking at 45 Bellevue Street at Hilltop Avenue by Simon Bolivar Infante. Went on to the Ordinance Committee. Document 23920. It's a handicap parking at 32 Warren Street by Maribel Rivera Colon. It's going down to the Ordinance Committee. Document 24020 is the Center for Technology and Civic Life COVID grant for the election division and the amount of $76,501.25 is going down to the Budget and
Council
Finance
President, would there be a possibility of having this heard by suspending the rules this evening? It's rather straightforward, unless you're inclined not to.
If it's if it's beneficial to the election division, I know we are in an emergency situation and this is a COVID grant, so I am open to the idea, unless there's any objections from councilors. Is there a motion, councilors, to take it as an emergency?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Councilor Payano, has been seconded by Councilor Levy. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, councilors, for the indulgence. This item came to my attention, strangely enough, during an isolation period that you're well aware of, and was applied for remotely from the Center for Technology and Civic Life. A grant to various city election divisions appears to be from a philanthropic outfit, and the usual, and I noticed the usual grants were about $10,000–12,000. I was quite stunned to get an amount that is approximately equal to the budget for one cycle of elections. There is a contract that is presented with it. I had it reviewed it with Mr. Iannello. There's no hooks to the contract. There's no requirements to do anything other than to simply apply it to election-related matters that would assist with COVID. And there's not much of a review process of it, other than the necessity of providing safe and secure PPE equipment, moving polling locations, costs, things of that nature, much of which we experienced during this past election. And that's really about all that it will provide. The funds would be used in that manner to defray the costs that we did incur in some of the other matters that included also vote by mail, which was spurned on, of course, as you know, by COVID requirements to provide another alternative method of voting to the voters. I'd ask for your consideration allowing the election division to access and use that money to pay those bills that are COVID related as submitted to the finance office. Upon their approval, they would be paid through that process.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Councilors, are there any questions or comments?
Council President, real quick question. Again, what's the name of that organization that's providing the grants?
It's entitled Center for Technology and Civic Life.
And through Mr. President, they just came out of the blue and offered money. We didn't solicit, didn't ask for it. They just came and said, here's
yeah, they solicited, probably not only through Massachusetts. It looks like a very general solicitation to most cities and towns throughout Massachusetts. In fact, I found out about it through other clerks through our association, essentially, saying that there's this grant money available. Here's the web address for the company. It was provided in with your materials, a copy of the grant agreement and purpose and philosophy of the company. I did not do further research on it, but they indicate that they are a 501(c)(3) company filed with the Internal Revenue Service. And in fact, the funds have already been generated and forwarded. They have been forwarded to the finance office for deposit into a fund specifically for use by the election division.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
President, to you.
Councilor Levy?
So how much is the amount?
$76,501.25.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
So, Council President, in terms of procedure, do we need to declare this as an emergency and suspend the rules?
Yes, we need to do that as part of the motion.
No, so the motion needs to.
Second?
Motion. Mr. Clerk, we did have a motion, did we?
Yeah, there was a motion. I'm not quite clear how extensive it was. Maybe I jumped the gun by providing the information, but the motion, I believe, by Council Payano was to suspend the rules in order to address the matter. I then provided information. If Council Payano wishes to also make it we'll say a double header, and include it as a motion to authorize the use of the grant funds, that would be appreciated, and that would expedite matters and reduce it to one roll call, I guess.
Correct.
That sounds good to me.
Thank you, Councilor.
Okay. Councilors, any further questions or comments? And there's none. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Council Vice President
Yes.
LaPlante.
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Anna Levy.
Yes.
Councilor Estela Reyes, noted, and Council President Vasquez.
My vote is yes. The motion carries.
Thank you, councilors.
Councilors, I want to take this opportunity to say how thankful and grateful I am for the work that our city clerk has done for the city. This is his last regular meeting with us. The city clerk has decided to do what many of us wish to do soon. He's going to be retired at the end of this month. So this news came to me last week, and I am extremely grateful for his work. Unfortunately, We are going to lose a person that brings in a lot of institutional knowledge, someone that has been there to support us during this process, and it saddens me big time that we will lose him. But at the same time, I am extremely excited and happy for him because I know that he will get to enjoy, this time. It's good for himself and his family. So it's two feelings in one. One is excitement, and the other one is sadness, and it's very difficult to describe. So with that said, Mr. Clerk, once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for always being available to assist. So you will be greatly missed.
Can if I'd like to take one moment, and I want to thank the council members for this council and the councils that I've served over the years. I'm very grateful and thankful for your allowing me the opportunity and the honor to serve in this public service in this seat for the years that I have. I came to this council in this position in 2004. We've seen many changes over the years, and I got to tell you, this is my 39th year in public service to the city of Lawrence in various capacities. I've been very fortunate to be able to serve in public service in a variety of capacities, all of which were challenging, all of which were enjoyable, and all of which ultimately brought honor and respect, I hope, to the city of Lawrence. I want to thank the council for the opportunity to be able to work with such notable and such hard workers that as Laurentians that we are. In particular, for these past two elections, I want to bring honor to and notoriety to Richard Reyes, Dan Tavor, Ruben Perez, Henry Checo, Jennifer Pagan, Janet Torres, Juanita Saladnia, Lourdes Alvarado Pena, Teresa Gagnon, Gail King, Christine Fenton Harrington, 170 poll workers that served your constituents this past election. Brian Pena, Juan Acosta, you members of the city council who I could not do this job without your possibility, without what you're allowing me to do this. Mayor Rivera, for allowing me the opportunity to have some free reign to execute an election during a pandemic. Who have heard such a thing? I don't know. But most importantly, the Lawrence community who I can't speak loudly enough for, that we honorably serve. I want to thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to miss all of you. I'm going to miss all the people I've just cited. These people are tremendous, hardworking. I know you're in good hands, and I appreciate the opportunity. And I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for allowing me to be here and to serve you and your constituents and having that trust. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
I'm gonna miss you.
Council President,
Council Vice President.
would it be in order if you could allow those of us who wish to say very short, I realize that the hour is getting late, but just a word of thanks to the city clerk, would that be in order?
Yes, I'll give each of you, whoever wishes to speak, a moment of personal privilege.
Thank you very much, Council President. I just want to thank the clerk very much for his work on behalf of the residents of our city and his work on behalf of our institution, the Lawrence City Council. He has done so much, a lot of it behind the scenes. And just one quick story about the clerk and his work behind the scenes. As you know, we've been very active in providing resolutions. I think I've provided a bunch of resolutions, especially during the high school graduation period. And each one of those, I got the basic information, but the clerk himself is the one that provided that kind of assistance to get everything pad to paper and ready to go. in order to make those individuals, whether it's students or graduates or other people who receive some sort of distinction, make them feel special and thankful from us for the work. And so I wanted to thank him, that amongst so many things. And when you're in City Hall for as many years as the clerk is in, and you happen to leave on your own volition because you want to retire, that in and of itself is a success story and an accomplishment, because as much as I love our City Hall, I know personally, I've worked in the City Hall, it is a tough place to work. And so he, having navigated the treacherous waters of City Hall and managed to survive it, and not only survive, but thrive, and providing the kind of service and a kind of dedication and support for, I can speak for myself, but I think I could speak for on behalf of many, is truly notable. And so, Mr. Clark, I know I'm still going to represent you for a little while longer. I just want to thank you so much for all that you've done. Thank you so much, and Godspeed, and whatever you're new, whether it's retirement or something else, whatever it is, Godspeed to you.
Thank you very much, Council LaPlante, Council Vice President. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else, councilors? Councilor Abbey.
Thank you. This comes as a bit of a surprise, and I'm happy for you, Bill. I really am. I think we all, we spend a life working, and to be able to retire, as Council LaPlante said, on your own terms at the time that is right for you. I want to acknowledge, everyone on this screen in this meeting, we all joined public service, and I did around the same time you did. As a matter of fact, many people on this call won't remember, but in his previous incarnation, our city clerk was the land use planner, and I was the chairperson for planning. And,
that's right.
Bill was the land use planner, and he would render his guidance in each parcel. And when Mayor Sullivan tapped him to be clerk, that was bittersweet then, because I was a rather new chair of the planning board, and Bill was not only, counsel, small c, but he was an attorney. So there was a bit of comfort in having an attorney as you deal with ordinances and state laws and various aspects of planning. And, I've done 2 tours of duty on the city council, and Clerk Maloney has been in his seat for both tours of duty. And I won't, go on with all of the things he's done over my tenure, but he's certainly done more for me individually as I serve the constituents of District E than I could have ever done for him. And, Council LaPlante touched on not only the citations, but all of the not pomp and circumstance isn't the right word, but all of the formalities of the legislative branch of government. He did it effortlessly. He put these things, maybe he would disagree with me. Maybe it wasn't effortlessly. We don't see that, because all we know is we show up on Tuesday nights in the citations to recognize citizens that have done great things. And the wording is great. The placement, the substance, and the thought is all there. And, selfishly, I'm going to miss that. And I'm, we all move on and we're all replaced, but, Clerk Maloney, we're going to miss you. I'm certainly going to miss you. The texts, the emails, whether it's a polling location on election day when I know you're up to your ears in alligators, or just a handicap agenda item that somehow I've misplaced, and I reach out to you whether by email, phone, or text. You were always
I'm
there.
still working on those. I got them.
You've always been there. You've always been responsive. And I want to say thank you. Public service is not easy. And in the city of Lawrence, sometimes it's just a little more challenging. And you showed up each day, and we're better for it. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, David.
Mr. President.
Councilor Payano.
Thank you, Mr. President. No, I want to echo Mr. Clerk, my colleague's words. I will say that learning about this has been bittersweet. While there's a huge part of me that is very happy for sort of the next steps that you will be taking. I'm sure that we'll be crossing paths. Another part of me is sad that we will not be able to work in this capacity. While I might not have had the pleasure, I've only worked with you these past 3 years. My other colleagues have worked with you longer. I've seen the value, the work ethic that you put into trying to ensure that the city clerk's office is running properly, and your passion towards ensuring that our elections are run correctly. I commend you for the work that you've done this year, you and the elections department. I commend you for being an advocate for your office and being an advocate for the elections department. I wish that I could be seeing you, that you would have said, in 3 months or in 6 months, to see if we can figure out a way to convince you not to go. I think it was very smart, to tell us now. That way we don't essentially try to, bend your arm a little bit so you can stay with us for longer. But no, in all seriousness, I think that you doing public service is not something that that comes easy. There's a lot of work involved, there's a lot of stress involved, and you have done an amazing job. So thank you for your service, and I'm sure that we'll find a way to continue working together.
I'm sure we will. Thank you, Pavel. Thank you much.
President.
Councilor De La Cruz.
Hey, Mr. Clerk, I'm gonna wait for you.
Councilor De La Cruz.
I'm gonna wait for you at Punta Cana, okay? Okay.
First, we got to go to the State House.
I wish you the best, and lucky that you are so healthy that you can enjoy your. Nothing is better than enjoy your life. I will bless you and God be with you. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all your help.
I need somebody to fight during election day, and that was you. See you.
Thank you. We'll be around.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Well, essentially, we've been working together for 5 years already. That's amazing. With the first day that I was on my first council meeting, he was the one giving me the agenda and look, this is how you actually go from one page to another page. And this is how basic our relationship began. Mr. Maloney, the institutional knowledge that you have, it's great. And I hope that because we live in Massachusetts, we have a program that it's about 980 hours that you can come back and teach somebody all your institutional knowledge to be able to accomplish what we have so far. I'm happy for you because you are going to retire. When you mentioned retirement, I was like, let me calculate how many years I have for retirement. I'm even thinking about it because it's so.
It comes on you quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But thank you for all the service that you have done for the city. On the last 5 years, I know that you has been very, you put a lot of attention to details. And so what we need to do as a city council, you were well defined also who you serve, and that's great. That was a great experience. And at the end of the day, we have a great loss. I hope that we have somebody in line that can do the work that you did. And I hope that you enjoy your retirement.
Thank you very much.
The president,
Councilor Levy.
what is such a surprise. I'm
One
so
of my
happy.
favorite poll worker. It was terrible to lose you.
Yeah, I know that we haven't worked for many years.
Many years now.
Yes, I know that you were not happy when I told you that I was thinking not to come back. But we never know that things that God had, for everybody. And at some point, I'm here working again with you, and maybe in the other way.
I might be a B1 soon.
Maybe. But thank you so much. I have just learned a lot with you. Thank you for all your support. We're going to be missing you. And I'm so happy of the way that you always manage your election division, and also all of these things that you will be doing as a city clerk. It's not an easy job working. I know how hard it's been working with people, but I think that you did a tremendous job for the city of Lawrence.
Well, thank you very much. That's very taken much to heart. Thank you very much, Council Levy. We've been friends for so long.
Yes. So I will be glad if you retire, but maybe you can take it a part-time and continue working with us. But that's no, this is a joke. I know that's
You never know.
yes. So when we retire, it's because
I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here.
yeah, but at least now we cannot be seeing one to another once we were going to the city hall, just only seeing or by mail or by
Yeah, I know.
whatever that we've been using, the Zoom, just phone call. And thank you so much because you always responded to me, at any time that I was calling you or calling you. And I learned a lot with you, and when I ask you for something, and if you don't knew the answer, you always looking to get it and just do the right way. That's under the law, and everything that we should do, we could do on regard of anything that we ask for. Thank you so much. It was
Thank you.
working with you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Levy. Is there anyone else?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilor Reyes.
I would like to say thank you for your dedication and your compromise for our community. I had the opportunity to saw your work, your hard work in this election.
Well, I saw you at the East School. I thought that was wonderful to see the right on site.
Yes, I running around, bringing coffee and
That was
support
great.
the best I can. But I saw you working for the different poll, and I think in the South Lawrence East be to 1 o'clock in the morning. I say, oh my
easily, yeah.
gosh. And also, thank you so much for your support, because I'm the new in this process, and any question I had, you'll be there to respond. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
And I say, congratulations.
Thank you again.
And for retirement. But we're going to be missing you.
I know it feels very different doing it electronically.
It doesn't though, Council President. It doesn't.
No, but thank you, Mr. Clerk. I know this was going to be your last meeting. I misspoke earlier. Councilors, there's a couple of housekeeping items that we need to do given that our clerk is retiring. So I will ask that we have a special council meeting to start the search, and the council will need to discuss it for the appointment of a new clerk. I know it's going to be very challenging to fill in the shoes that Clerk Maloney is leaving us here. I don't think that we'll find someone like him, with all the honesty. So we will have a big task in front of us to do it. So, and
Well, I am very confident in the institution. And if there's anything I learned from you folks, is that this institution is bigger than us. It will survive us. It will survive all of us. If there's only one lesson that I can take away with this, this is the most powerful board in a municipality. I think I learned that from you and how strong the unity is in a small community, which is really throughout the clerk world is really envied. From contrary to what you might think, but it's a strong community and it remains as strong. I grew up here. I was born here. It hasn't changed. And again, you renew my hope in the strength of this board. And it's been such a pleasure. I can't express enough. I'm still going to be in South Lawrence. I'll be still voting. But I want to thank you again. I can't say enough. I think it's time, and every clerk will have their better points, bring something better to the table, and I think that you will find that. I'm confident you will. I know you will. But thank you again for the opportunity.
thank you. So, councilors, I will ask that we have a special council meeting. I think that meeting will be more procedural than anything else to be able to post the job offer, but not job offer, the job opening publicly. So I'm thinking if we do maybe next Tuesday, the 24th, does that sound? It shouldn't be a long meeting. If there's another meeting already for that day, we can do it. It will take us a couple of minutes. Does that seem like a reasonable date?
Council President, that works for me. And I also want to remind you, I'm looking at my schedule. It looks like there's an ordinance committee meeting. So there's going to be councilors already going to that or being present. So we should be able to get a quorum that evening, I think.
That's correct, yes. If we have ordinance committee, that's correct. It's meeting on the 24th. So that includes Councilor de la Cruz, Reyes, both Reyes. And Councilor Levy will be there as well.
Council President, the ordinance committee is going to be next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, yeah. So we'll meet. We can have this meeting before ordinance. So we'll schedule it for 7 o'clock, Mr. Clerk. With the items.
Will do.
The items that I sent to you.
Will do.
And that will officially be your last meeting.
Yeah, but ordinance committee is at 7?
Yes, and we'll schedule ours at 7, and we should be done within a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. More procedural than anything at this point.
Very good.
Okay. Okay, councilors, Mr. Vice President and Chair from the Budget and Finance Committee.
Thank you, Council President. We just have a couple of items. I don't think they're that urgent, and because of the holiday next week, because of the compact nature, I'm going to basically miss a week and go to the 9th of December with that, unless I hear from the budget director or someone else says we need to meet earlier. we're looking at December the 9th.
Mr. Chair from Housing.
We have no business.
Okay, no business for Housing. Mr. Chair for Personnel.
Personnel has no new business.
Mr. Chair from from Public Safety and Charter Review.
Mr. President, we have a charter committee's meeting on Thursday. I think the notice for that has already gone out, and the Public Safety Committee is meeting on Monday, and I believe the notice for that has already gone as well.
Okay, fantastic. Seeing that there's no further business, is
Council
there
President,
Council Vice President?
just a reminder that we do have a Budget and Finance Committee meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. But not with that, not with the new items, just for
Not
the
with the-
bill items. Right.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made by
Second.
Councilor Levy. It has been seconded by Councilor Reyes. Any discussions? Seeing there's none. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Council Vice President LaPlante,
Yes.
Council Rodriguez,
Yes.
Council Dela Cruz,
Yes.
Council Payano,
Yes.
Council Abdu,
Yes.
Council Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Council Anna Levy,
Yes.
Council Reyes, Estela Reyes noted, and Council President Vasquez.
My vote is yes. The motion carries. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.